heading back to Scotland at the weekend, off to spend Christmas in the Highlands, then to take in the bells in Edinburgh, which is always fun. Hopefully I'll be able to escape from family commitments once or twice and get some images while I'm there. Back here in North Georgia, we're almost at the winter solstice, and I've taken the chance to head into the hills for one last walk before I leave. I've decided to head to a place called Three Forks in Fannin County, to the west of LJ. Three Forks is at the confluence of three creeks that come together to eventually form a very decent trout stream called Nuntutla Creek. It's also where the Appalachian Trail and the Benton Mackay Trail cross one another not too far from their southern terminus of Springer Mountain. The plan for the day is to follow the AT back south as it runs parallel to Stover Creek, then climb up to the ridge line of Rich Mountain. At the top, we will pick up the Benton Mackay Trail and return in a loop back down to Three Forks, probably about 4 or 5 miles altogether. Checking the weather the previous night, we were promised a cool start but relatively warm, calm day. There were to be no low or middle clouds, but 100% high cloud, and that is exactly what we were treated to. The delicate veil of high clouds did not obscure the sun completely, but instead softened it and flooded the trees with a silky winter light. It was sheer bliss. As I followed the line of Stover Creek, I had hoped to scout for possible views of cascading water, gurgling streams, or the like. Unfortunately, thick rhododendron bushes tend to line the waterways of North Georgia, and that is the case here. There were very few views of the creek itself from the path, so I took pleasure instead studying the way the diffuse light was wrapping itself around the trunks of the bare deciduous forest, highlighting and creating depth, but no harsh contrast. Perfect for a little woodland photography. The first real image that caught my eye was on the ridge up to Rich Mountain. A medium-sized tree stood on the hillside and leaned over towards a very small creek. It was the root system that I liked the most, but I wanted to capture all three elements in the composition: the tree, the creek, and the roots. Unfortunately, I could not get the balance to my satisfaction, so I simplified and concentrated on the roots as my main focus of interest. The result is pleasing, but not what I had hoped for. Note as well that I was not making best use of the glorious light. The sun at the time was backlighting the scene, whereas a side light would be much preferred. Finding a composition in woodland can often be very frustrating. If you cannot see anything, the best way is often to find an area that seems to give you a good feeling, has the right bones. Then stop and just look, and keep looking for 20 or 30 minutes even. Move a little and turn around. Shapes and patterns will start to appear. Of course, when you are out scouting and have a route to complete in a certain time, stopping for even 10 minutes can seem counterproductive. So possibly combine your stop with a lunch break or simply for a sip of water. The ridge line up there on the top of Ridge Mountain was just such a place, and I will return there again. Turning back along the Benton Mackay Trail, I followed the ridge for a while, then started to descend back towards the watershed of Chester Creek and eventually Three Forks. Because most of the colors in the forest are so subdued during winter, The vibrant green of mosses and lichens really pop out against the dull greys and browns, like on this macro shot of some that were fern-shaped, growing on the decomposing trunk of a fallen tree. Further down, I spotted these exquisitely shaped plants growing on the steep side of the path. I love the way that the decay of the browns and oranges contrast the spirited growth of the greens. Back in the car, I sat on the footbridge over Chester Creek and had some lunch before setting off once more, this time in the opposite direction. Long Branch Falls is an easy 1 mile further along the AT and BMT to the north. As you can see, it's a decent sized falls and was showing good flow after the recent rains.
So, hi. Okay, so remember when I was mentioning about going off to Scotland at the end of the week? Well, full confession time now. I've actually been and I've come back again. That was about 3 weeks ago that was last here. And unfortunately what happened was that came up here after lunch and then the whole world decided to come. In fact, there were people here with drones flying them in front of the waterfall, there were kids playing, they were running around, and well, I didn't really get any picture taken to finish off the last vlog. So, I have come up here again today. It's, let's see now, I came back from Scotland on Monday, so it's now Friday, that was 4 days ago, and what I really was intending to do was try and catch a picture of the waterfall without any disturbances, and so that's what I'm going to try and do now. It's a lot colder today. We are at about let's say 28 Fahrenheit, about -3, -4, something like that. And there's some icicles up there by the waterfall, which I might go and take some close-ups of later on, but I'm going to try and look around for a nice wide shot of the waterfall first. So let's see how we go. All right. So that's me done for today. I think I'm going to get in the car and head back. In fact, I've come all the way back down to the Nuntutlack Creek here, just because it was getting a bit busy up by the waterfall again. Now I did manage to take an image, which I'll put up on the screen in a minute, of the main waterfall, a sort of a grand vista of the waterfall. But it's quite tricky up there. It's not the easiest waterfall to get a good composition of. There's a lot of the trees are quite close to the front of the falls, so you can't step back too much on the right hand side on the right bank. Now on the left bank, it's very much overgrown, so again it's difficult to find an access point. And if you try to go in the middle of the stream, there's a lot of rhododendron branches covering just the main part just before the actual waterfall. So getting composition is a bit tricky. I did find one angle that I could get, but by that time the sun had come round in the sky. So I thought, well, just why not go with it? Why not, that's what the circumstances are. So I decided to incorporate the sun in my picture and try and do a sunburst off in the top right with the waterfall down in the bottom left, trying to balance it a little bit that way. So as I say, I'll put that up now. And also I did manage to take a couple of other pictures, and if they come out, then I'll put them up as well. There was some icicles forming on the left bank, very close to the actual waterfall itself. So I went in there and took some detailed shots of that. Of course, all of the usual things with waterfalls was also happening. There was a lot of spray. It was quite cramped in there. So I wasn't able to take any video of me actually taking the pictures. So I'll talk you through them if they come out when I put them up on the screen. All right, bye for now.
So this is the first image that I wanted to show you of the icicles on the left-hand side of Long Creek Falls. I like the way that the leading line comes across the top of the image and down into the center, so that you have the end of the branch pretty central, but it has some nice curves and icicles coming off the bottom of it there. Unfortunately for me, when I look at this image, it kind of gives me the impression of some alien movie, and the drool coming out the mouth of the alien just before it pounces and grabs you. So it's a little disturbing in that way. Not a beautiful image, but you know, quite graphic anyway. Now this is the second image. It doesn't have the same kind of leading lines as the other one. But what it does have is, well, the light for a start. It was backlit, so the light is coming through the water droplets, which are part of the waterfall in the background. It looks a little bit like an arc welder or something like that, with the sparks flying off. But then the more that you look at the image, the more you see, and I love the way that the branch that's slightly curved comes down and it's encapsulated in the ice. But to me the most amazing thing, and when you actually look at the detail, which if I zoom in now, you can see it almost looks like an intricately carved silver tusk or something like that, some African artwork. The detail in these icicles is absolutely amazingly beautiful. I just love it to bits. So I'm going to leave you with that, and that's pretty much what I have left for you today. Really hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the little adventure, and we'll see you again soon.